It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, but the house is hot and it's very uncomfortable. In fact, sleeping at night is almost impossible. Well, how do you cool that house down? Because that sun is beating down on the house? Well, what a lot of people do, they'll put in more venting. Not necessarily the right thing, but they put more venting. They'll put, for an example, venting in the gable end. They'll put more venting in the soffits. They'll put possibly a dome vent, one of those crown type, out on the roof. Or they may even put some venting along the ridge. Or they may put one of those whirlybirds, one of those rotating turbines. But still, the house is hot. Well, why does it get hot? Well, first of all, the sun beating down, the roof now gets hot. That roof membrane gets really warm, and that now transfers that heat inside, and the cavity of the roof gets hot. And when it gets hot, the insulation on top of the ceiling gets hot. The drywall or the plaster gets hot. And when those factors get hot, now they're radiating all that heat down into the room below where you're very uncomfortable. Well, you know where there is a cool spot in the home. You've tried to cool things down by putting fans and all that sort of thing, opening windows, but it's still hot. But the cool spot, hey, it's down in the basement. That's where all that moist air over the summer months goes down and it congregates down in here. All that cool air. And it's down there. In fact, some people will even take to the basement to go and sleep for the night because it's so cool. Well, the reason why it's cool, because first of all, it's below grade because the ground level is right out here. And being below ground, then the concrete's cold. And the moisture goes down there and it cools, so therefore it's a cool, moist area, which to your body at 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, it feels cool. Well, the idea is, let's get some of that cool upstairs. But you don't want to put air conditioning in because it's too expensive for the number of days that you require it in the summer months. So what do? Hey, we got a furnace down there. Why not use the furnace as, well, as an air conditioning item? So what do? Very simply, take the bottom panel off of the furnace. Take this panel off. When you take it off, reach inside and shut off the gas or the oil. You don't want the Pilot Light burning. In fact, Pilot Light could cost you up to $3 a month just sitting there burning today at gas prices. So therefore, shut it off and leave that panel off. Then you turn on what's called the summer switch. And the summer switch normally is on most furnaces. If not, you can have one of the furnace technicians come out and install one for you. This so you can turn that blower on down inside the furnace cabinet. Now, when you turn that blower on, what happens, it's now going to draw air, yes, down through the return air upstairs, but also it's going to take all this cool air into the furnace cabinet, and it's going to distribute it up through the furnace cabinet, out the duct system, and come up through the registers into the home. Now, if there's any air lost upstairs, and incidentally, this does work better with the windows closed. So therefore, any lost air, your makeup air is going to come in from outside anyway, through the makeup air, and on down through and up in through the furnace. So therefore, your home's not going to draw a negative. Now, with all this nice cool air coming up into the home, it's circulating up in the home, but you don't want it circulating. You want to get rid of it because you want something to give you that nice cool air. So up here in the ceiling, normally back in a closet, or it could even be in the hallway, what you do, you take that access panel off the ceiling or out of the ceiling and simply throw it over on top of the insulation, leaving that hole in the ceiling wide open. Now what happens, all this nice cool air that's coming up, around, up through the roof cavity it goes. And it blows all that hot air out of there. It cools the insulation down, the drywall down, and all that warmth goes right out these vents right here, and also out the soffit vents, cooling that whole roof cavity down. That way, the whole living cavity becomes very comfortable, much more bearable when it comes to those warm, hot nights. Now, some folks don't like leaving this hole in the attic cavity wide open, that access hole. Well, what you simply do, go down to your local building supply store and pick yourself up a furnace filter. Now, the furnace filter, get one as close to the size as possible. And if you have to enlarge it a bit, just put a piece of plywood around the perimeter and cut a big hole in the center and put that right into the same access hole. That way the air will go right up through and the animals or insects or flies can't come down in. There you have it, folks. Cool that home down by using natural air circulation through the furnace system, venting your entire house. Now, isn't that a great idea? Give it a try.